Love that music. Top of the morning, gang. Coming to you with great energy from A Cup of Joe, episode number 15. You have no idea how much I'm appreciating these conversations, and I hope you are too. I've appreciated every guest that I've had on. It's cool because everybody has like a different story, obviously, but how I'm meeting these people and the relationships that are coming from these conversations have been sort of amazing. So today's guest is going to be special. He is an inspiring golf professional. His story is super inspiring. I don't know too much of it about his story, and that's what I'm going to get to learn today when I talk to him. His name's Ali. He's from Iran. His family, they had a dream to move to America, and I'm not sure what year this was. I guess that's a good question to ask him when he gets on. But because of 9/11, they were forced to go to Germany, where he was. Him and his family were refugees during that time. So I'm glad to introduce you guys to Ali. Let's bring him on.
What's up, man?
My guy?
How are you doing?
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Good morning. So, quick question: Are you coming in from Texas, or are you in Germany right now?
Germany right now. It's actually 4 p.m. 4 p.m. coffee.
Okay. Cool. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. So, how have you been?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Last night was we had thunderstorms and tornadoes, so it got a little crazy last night. But this morning's beautiful. I feel great. How about yourself?
Good. It's nice. It's getting summer, but we're in quarantine, so you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Where do you live in Houston?
No, so I'm from Houston. I'm living in the Indianapolis area.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yep. Everything good with you? How's your family and health and everything with this COVID-19?
Yeah, everybody's good. I've been in quarantine almost for a month now, and I live in Munich, but I came back to my parents' house because, it's just, being around my parents, having the family around. It's been all right. I haven't been outside a lot, just in my garden to hit golf balls, but it's been very calm. People doing what they're supposed to do, and we're just waiting to live the real life again.
Gotcha. That's cool, man. Good to hear. So I want to dive straight into your story. I think the first place I would love to start is actually I have a question for you. So you actually moved to Texas, and you played UT. Not UT Arlington, but what was it? UT
RGV. It's Rio Grande Valley. Yeah. And that was in 2015. Yeah.
That's awesome. Golf scholarship, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
How long have you been playing golf?
So I'm 25 now, and I started when I was 14. So about 11 years now. Started pretty late. Also due to a computer game, which is very odd. Usually you just basically born into the game because of your grandma or your parents play. And I just been always crazy about computers and played a lot of games when I was younger. And I started playing this golf game called Shot Online
Okay.
for maybe 1 to 2 years, and then there was a golf. Actually, I'm at my parents' house, and there's a golf course just 5 minutes away, and I'd never been there at that time. And we had just one time family over, and my parents were like, "Okay, let's do kind of a. You pay $6-7, and then you can just play for 2 hours, and they explain you everything." And we did that, and yeah, but by that time I was playing soccer for more than 8 years, 7-8 years, and that was kind of my passion. But then after a month, I just quit soccer and kept playing golf. Yeah, very weird story.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, my family, they're from West Africa, Cameroon, and soccer's a big sport.
Yeah,
I grew up playing soccer. My dad played professional in Cameroon as well, and I don't know how I picked up on basketball, but I abandoned soccer and went to play basketball, man. So kind of, pretty similar stories there.
Yeah, how tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
Same. I'm same. Yeah.
My family, especially my dad, they say I would have been a better soccer player if I stuck with it. But you know how kids.
Just the fact that your dad played pro, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about your story, man. I know. I was reading. I actually listened to one of your podcasts that you had.
Oh, yeah.
Broke down your story just to kind of get some context on who you were. And it's really inspiring, man. So I want people to know kind of your journey to where you are right now as an inspiring golf athlete, man.
Yeah. Well, where do I start? So, like you mentioned earlier, I'm originally from Iran. When I was 6, that was basically around 1999, 2000s. I moved to. We flew to basically from Iran to Europe. Through many countries, and then I mean, I don't remember a lot of things, but my parents basically gave up everything, and then they flew, and I think went through 7-8 countries and ended up in Germany waiting for the process of getting the green card for the US. And then that took a few months, and that's why we had to stay in the refugee home there. And then that was around that time when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And that happened, and that basically cancel our plans. And then at that time, it was just either to stay in Germany or go back to Iran, which was not an option for us. So we ended up staying in Germany. And then we're in a refugee home for almost 7 years, 6-7 years. And that was basically a room. You lived in a room with your family, having public toilet, public kitchen.
How big was this room?
Excuse me?
How big was this room?
Maybe, I don't know. Wait, let me break it down in square feet. It was basically just 15 to 20 square meters. So not big. I mean, it's not big. Definitely. And there were like families with more members, and there were all kind of people from all over the world, kind of being in the same situation, seeking a better lifestyle. Bigger opportunities for their children. I was one of them basically, and we did that we stayed there for 6-7 years until we had the permission to move out of the refugee home, and then basically rent our own apartment. And during that time, my parents couldn't really work. There was not a permission, and we're talking about 2000, 2001. So you have to imagine, like, being a refugee back then wasn't a normal thing. I mean, it's not normal today, but it wasn't that common. So the rules and the laws were just different. Basically, now today, when you're a refugee in Germany, they're much better prepared. You have better circumstances, and right. you get provided much more things. And for us, it wasn't like that. So yeah, and then we moved, and my parents basically started to basically define themselves again, because they studied different things in Iran, but it didn't count in Germany. So my dad started cleaning, and then he worked in the kitchen as a helper, and he moved on, and now he's a baker. And the same thing for my mom, being a waitress, and but in my childhood, I always had everything I needed. You know, my parents were, I had really amazing parents, and they always provided us, never gave us a feeling that we're missing anything. Even when I started playing golf, you know, it's a rich man sport, like people say, and for us, it was just we didn't even know that, you know. So my parents would they saw I have a talent, and they just went all in, you know, did whatever they could to help me, and yeah. So that's the first part, I guess. Yeah.
That's really special, man, and I relate to it so much, man, because growing up, we had it so well. Our parents, I know they were grinding, you know, but they kept us happy. You know, it was my sister and I growing up, and we had a peaceful childhood, and I appreciate you sharing that. So when was it that you realized, like, man, I really want to? I know you said you learned it from a video game, but like, what was it that made you really fall in love with golf?
I don't know. It's hard to understand. I still I'm still looking for the answer, but I just remember hitting golf balls on the golf range, and then the number 20, 30th ball was like, it went 100 yards and went far, and the feeling when you hit a golf ball good is just so satisfying. And I was like all over the place. I was like, "Wow, Dad, look!" And then I kept playing, and ever since that day, I was on the golf course. Like I went to the golf course 30 days in a row, skipped soccer practice, and so just during that 1 month, I became such a good golfer for my, you know, for the amount of time I put in. And yeah, so the youth team of the golf club like asked me to join, and I did. And yeah, I think just the fact that I was able to hit a ball 100 yards after like playing 20 minutes, it was just so satisfying to me. And yeah, and by that time I didn't even know really the game how it is in real, because
Right.
in the computer game you hit the ball freaking 450 yards with like 100-yard curves, and you know, it's just so much cooler than real life. But yeah, and that just led to some regional tournaments where I started playing better, and you know, it went very fast.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. When you were skipping, you know, soccer practice and going out to the range and to the field, were you picking people's brains, or were you just out there practicing on your own? Were you asking questions? Like, how did you learn the game? Was it just through this video game and through sheer just practice?
I mean, it was just like finding your passion, and then you just spend time with yourself and the game. It was just, you know, like, I mean, obviously I watched some PGA Tour videos, Tiger Woods, all these guys, but I just, you know, I just played. I just tried to hit the ball the way I think I'm supposed to hit it, you know. But yeah, of course, after 6-7 months, I had a coach and everything. But I always went through it with the kind of the ingredient I have, you know. Like I didn't always take whatever the coaches tell me on a technical part. I did, but I still like did it.
You had to adjust to make it fit for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but I also wanted to say, when I quit playing soccer, I got a lot of hate from my teammates back then, my friends. Everybody's like, "What? Like, you play golf? It's just so odd to do it, especially in Germany, because it's such a small sport." Yeah, it was funny, but yeah, I mean, I got a lot of hate just throughout the years. My teachers would like hate on me, like always making jokes, because I would start playing better, and I would go to tournaments, and I would ask if I could take off Friday, Thursdays, you know. And at the beginning they were like, "What are you doing? You're playing golf." But the better I got, and I got invited to German championships and stuff like that, they were like kind of getting it, but it was very slow.
Gotcha.
So that was funny.
When did you know that you wanted to play on the next level? Meaning you received a scholarship for golf at.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, when did you know that, hey, I want to take my skill set and I want to go to the next level? When was that moment for you?
I mean, after a year and a half, I got invited by the Iranian national team, which is very
Yeah, that's an
So
honor.
it's kind of weird because we're the family who flew from that country, you know, and not because we're Iranians, we are real Iranians, but it's just because of the political situation that was going on. But the fact that I ended up playing for the national team is very weird to me. I spent years to understand like why am I even playing for the team and all these things. But yeah, when I started playing for Iran, they have only one golf course in Iran, and I was basically the best player by then. I mean, I'm still the best player, the only ranked Iranian golfer.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I really want to take that value and leverage to just kind of make something great out of it. Because if you just look at the beginning of the story, it seems like something crazy,
Right, for sure, man.
But yeah, anyways, I got invited to play the World Championship. It was in Turkey, and that was the first time I played. It was just 2 years after me playing golf. And now I went to the tournament. I was so like nervous, and then it was basically the best 3 players from every country, and by that time it was like 85 countries playing golf. And so I saw all these big names I see like in TV or like in the rankings, and me being there, like you have the course is just perfect. There are people watching you. It was on TV, and when I saw that, and it was just like wow, like I really want to do this the rest of my life.
How old were you again? How old were you when
I
you
was 16. I was actually one of the youngest players to play that tournament that time.
That's amazing. So who were some of the, if you can just recall, like who were some of the big names there?
I mean, I'm not sure, but John Rahm, like I played that tournament. It was every 2 years. Like I saw Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, like Jordan Spieth, all these big guys who are like top 20, 30, 40. They were all there, which I realize now because at that time it was just an amateur play,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. But
That's cool.
But yeah, that was a moment when I was like, man, I could get used to that. It was just so amazing.
The energy, the atmosphere, surreal.
Yeah. And the funny thing is my golf skills were so low by then. Like I shouldn't been there in that tournament because just the skill set they had, it was so much higher. But you have to also imagine that I was playing 2 years and they were playing, I don't know, at least 10 years by that time. Because most of the people started playing with 4, 5, 6. Yeah, but overall it was just amazing experience, and I got to play another tournament in Thailand and then Dubai, and it was like a domino. Like after that tournament, I started playing other tournaments, getting invited here and there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I don't. Let me back up and tell you this, Ali. Now I appreciate the sport golf. But I'm terrible at it. And actually, behind me there used to be golf clubs that I borrowed from my girlfriend's brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gone out and I've played a few times, and I think the competitive energy in me wants to be good, but I just haven't.
Patience says no.
Right. I haven't spent enough time practicing. So when you said that, that the first time you picked up a club and you actually made contact with the ball and hit it far. Like I related to that because that's how when I've only hit it like twice, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. That's cool, man. So your goal now is to do what? I know you gave me the title, like a goal. You call it professional. What is that exactly?
Well, so to get context, I kept playing until I was 18 on international and national level, but it requires a lot of money because you have to pay for the tournament fee, for your travel, and in amateur golf you basically don't even make money. So it's more like just repetition, getting experience, and building brand in the golf world. And I did that until I was 18, and I had to decide either I stay in Germany and study, or I try to get a scholarship. And I remember in one of those big tournaments when I was 16, there were scouts who asked me can you ever imagine playing the States? And by that time, my English was so bad, and I was so scared. I was like, no. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, that was so far away from everything I could imagine. Like becoming a pro was closer than going to the US. It was weird.
Yeah.
But then when I kept playing more tournaments and I heard about these college sports in the US, So I started like researching, and when I was 17 and a half, I was in an agency who were looking for like, coaches, but it was very expensive, and I thought I could have gotten a better offer, so I quit with them, and I started emailing every coach in Division 1, 2, 3, and JUCO. Literally, I made a video and just a nice text, and I emailed everyone.
That's awesome.
And I ended up getting maybe 40 offers.
Wow.
And like it was 40 offers with scholarship. I mean, not 4, but I mean,
right. No. Yeah, it's amazing.
And yeah, and throughout my career, I had a lot of coaches who believed in me, but I also had a few coaches who didn't really believe in me, who were like, yeah, like you're never gonna make it to the States, you're not even gonna play Division 3. So that was kind of the fuel I had, and that was the reason when I saw that I had offers from this agency, I was like, no, I can do better. So when I actually did it myself, and I was much more transparent and genuine to the coaches and the school, I ended up getting so many offers, because people don't get it. I mean, it is about your skills, but if you're a good human, it's just it's just because you forget that in the world of sports. I mean, always there's pressure and everything, but I mean, if you have good characteristics and people see, okay, you're here for the good cause and you want to like really getting better as a human being, it's much better. So I ended up, I had this list with the offers, and I just literally went down all the way to the cheapest school, because I mean, college here in Germany is free.
Right.
And paying, I don't know, 10,000 a year is just it's just so crazy, like so dumb for the people here.
Yeah.
But I ended up just taking the cheapest school. I did some calculations. I was like, yeah, mom, for the first year maybe 4,000 or 5,000, and I had like 55% scholarship or something like that. Just booked the flight, my visa and everything. After months, it got accepted. So then me just sitting in the flight, flying over there. Never been. I've been once to Florida, but for a week for a tournament. That's it. So, and I ended up in South Texas, which is just, it was in McAllen, Texas, 10 minutes from Mexico, 5 minutes from Mexico.
Right on the border.
At the beginning, I was like, okay, I took the wrong flight, because it was just full of palm trees and, like a lot of Hispanic people. Like, you don't expect that. But I ended up loving it so much. That's
awesome, man. That's awesome. So my question to you is, during that flight, whenever you said bye to your family on the flight, was there more excitement or nerve? Like you were more nervous to go?
No, I still remember that. I was like so confident. Like obviously, the better I played, like golf helped me so much to just improve myself. Like the way I think, the way I act during the day. And I remember I was like playing it cool with my parents. I was like, don't worry, I'm gonna see you guys in 7 months, just hug them. They crying like river. And then me sitting in the airplane looking down, I was like, we just entered like New York, like the US. And I was like, I started crying like a baby for like
wow.
I guess. I was like,
it hit you then, right? When you came in the States.
It hit me big time. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in a different country. My English sucks. Like I don't know anyone except the coach from Skyping. Like it was so crazy.
Wow.
But it was just, once I got there, I met the teammates, and they were all, the good thing was my team was very international, so we were all like having empathy for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And after 3-4 months, I felt so comfortable that I didn't want to even come back for the summer to Germany. I was just like, I'm staying there. But like I was very scared. But that flight, like just making the move, like I don't want to even stay in Germany anymore, because I know what's out there. Once you see countries and other cultures, you just get kind of addicted to diversity, and that's what I got. And
that's awesome, man. So you went to Texas. How did you do over there overall? Education wise and with golf, how'd you do?
Well, I mean, I played good the first semester for what I was expecting, but my coach, we didn't really understand each other, and we had kind of a deal that he gives me more scholarship, but he didn't. And then I was like I resigned, and I was looking for a different school. Actually, I was about to go to what is it? St. Thomas University.
Yeah. I know St. Thomas.
Yeah, and then I was talking to the coach, and he was like liking me, and we're like on the same page from the beginning. But it's a private school, and it was very expensive. But we stayed in touch. I resigned, came back to Germany, and started doing the whole process again, emailing every school because at the school I couldn't get the he basically promised me something, but he didn't do it, and I ended up like emailing everyone, and and then at the end, the coach who was in St. Thomas transferred to our school, and then we got connected again, and I ended up staying. But I just found out that maybe 2 weeks before the new semester was starting, so it was just like
crazy.
All stressful. And then we had such a good relationship, and he helped me out. But I mean, I have to say, like during my college time, I was like playing golf with financial pressure all the time because I knew you had to pay for it. Like there's so many costs, especially when you're international. So I was like always on the edge, like, oh, cool, I just have $50 for a month. Like I was living so humble, but to this day, I still never felt that happy. And I was that time, and I was maybe living off $150 in average, and every semester you had to like the payment collection was like, yeah, you gotta pay, or we don't let you to register, and then your visa, and it's just everything is connected because once you're not enrolled, your visa gets canceled, and I was like, it was more thing.
All right, we lost you for a quick second. You're back. All right, you were saying golf is not really pressure for you. It's something, and then they cut off.
Yeah, it was more the financial part of it,
Okay.
because I was always scared to not being able to pay and then not getting registered for the next semester, and then my visa gets canceled. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but somehow I made it. I still don't know how I made it, but yeah, that was basically the biggest challenge. But golf-wise, in my second and third year, I started playing the best. And it was I just grew my mind. Like I was thinking bigger, my perspective got bigger, and obviously I was more confident. And just that thing, all those things helped me to play better because I always had it in me. It just my mind wasn't on the way.
Yeah.
And during that time, I also found out about Gary Vee, which was kind of also the push I needed. From that standpoint, and the best people around me. My friends were from all over the world. So the more I was in the States, the more I lost my friends back in Germany. So when I came back in Germany after college, I basically started from zero because I knew the people, but everybody was like...
Everybody went their different ways. And
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, you've said so many things that I resonate with. First of all, the first thing you said, and for those who are tuning in and watching, how do you say your last name, Ali?
Kazanbek.
Gotcha. Ali Kazanbek, who the title I'm giving you is an aspiring golf professional. I feel like that's fair enough, right? Yeah. So we're having a conversation. I'm just getting to learn more about his story. But Ali, you've said so many things that I resonate with. One of them, you said that when you were in the process of looking for a school to go to play, you were emailing and messaging people, and then you mentioned that people think it's all about the skill and the talent, but it goes back to being a good human, and building relationships. And I relate with that because, I played basketball in college, all 4 years. And honestly, looking back on it, I always ask myself, like, how was I able to play on that level with those amazing athletes, right? I think a lot of it, even going back to prior to me playing basketball or any kind of sport, I've always had an ability to be cool with my teachers or be cool with my coaches. And it wasn't that they gave me like an easy way out, but they were willing to work with me so I can get better. And that's what I found out, like, throughout life and basketball, is like, even though I wasn't the greatest on the team,
Yeah.
My coaches gave me the confidence that they were going to work with me, which gave me the confidence that, you know, if I have a passion in it, I just need to keep working hard. And I think that's the reason why I was able to play on that level. So,
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you need to use the time in college to find yourself. Like I did things I never would think I would do. I started reading books, listening to podcasts, like consuming just positive things. I remember I read a book about water, which had 700 pages.
Yeah.
How water affects emotions. Like to everyone, it sounds like yes,
Yeah, right.
but once you dedicated to become a better golf player, which also means become a better human being, you go so you narrow it down so big that you end up in, oh, like, am I drinking the right water? Like, it's not even about food. Like, it was just perfect because I was so in control over everything.
Yes, yeah.
And not trying to control everything, but whatever I could control, I made sure I did, So that was the good part.
It's almost like being the best in whatever skill for you it's golf. For me, it was basketball. During those times, like if I want to be the best, I have to like act like the best and treat myself like the best, right? And it's not from an egotistical standpoint, it's more from a discipline standpoint of I want my mind to run great and I want my body to run great. So you start reading books about water and things of that nature to like keep yourself,
Yeah, and the older I got and the closer I got to the end of my college career, the more extreme I took it. Like in my senior year, I had like a poster hanging up on the ceiling which said, I don't know, like said, in this moment, someone is working hard, like someone is working while they're sleeping.
Sure, bro.
And I would wake up and that was the first thing I saw. And I was like, oh my God, like there's no way I'm gonna like hit the snooze button or something like that,
Love that, man.
And we had workouts at 6 a.m. I would wake up at 4:40, go run an hour, and then get to the weight room. Then breakfast, school, practice, stretching. Like I spent every minute felt like an hour because I just got the maximum out of it. And which brings me to that point that right after college and after being a student athlete, if you don't do that much, it feels like you're lazy. Like like I was struggling maybe a year after being done because you judge yourself because you're used to do so many things.
Wow.
And then you come to I always say real life, and then you just like go for, I don't know, go to on the weekends, you go to the mountains, you do this. And then I never had that. And still to this day, I tell people I never went on vacation, just maybe one time with my parents, because golf, like playing golf was always like, it never felt like work.
Yeah.
I would travel also to tournaments, so it was just perfect. Like I never needed a time off. So every time I would like I wasn't able to play golf, I was like feeling annoyed because I'm not keeping it up. It's such a weird thing. A lot of people don't understand me when I talk to friends now. It's just you needed to like go through it to understand, because if you're at that level and taking everything so like every millimeter is important, then you really understand it.
So I'm guessing most of that mentality that you had has carried over into your life now. How did you get into UX design and all that?
Well, when I was done with college, I had another year of basically work visa. And then I worked at a country club as a golf assistant pro. And it was fun, but like teaching wasn't the thing for me. Mm-hmm. And then my visa was over anyways. And I came back, and I was always like passionate about design, even when I was 14, 15, but I never really had the time to do it because of golf.
Because of golf, yeah.
So and I was reading about it when last year, and I just started like watching videos, and I took a course, and now I'm working full time as a UX designer, which is basically designing websites and apps, and also all kind of graphic design work. And I'm trying to like get in workouts and golf practice all in one, and try to save up money and go pro. And I like the fact that you call it, aspiring golf professional, because I still see myself like that, even though people think, oh, you haven't been playing, I
Like
don't know,
he's done, he's finished school, he's moved back to
yeah,
he's
yeah.
doing design now. Like he has no, yeah, I get it.
Because to be honest, like after school, like I was so deep into the basically golfing thing, then like my expectations were I'm done and I'm gonna play pro. There was no alternative. But I didn't really think through how I'm gonna do it because it obviously costs a lot of money. And I have like a lot of friends who did it, but they also come from a different background. Like it was hard to understand. Okay, like if like from where I came from to where I went, it's like insane.
Yeah,
But then I got like all these people on you forget it, and then I was like, man, I gotta go pro. I gotta do this, and I took a lot of, let's say, wrong decisions for that time. But when I was working as a golf coach and assistant pro, you do a lot of service stuff. You have to clean golf clubs, like
yeah,
making sure the golf course looks nice, and that kind of gave me back humility, and it was like a year of, okay, like what is up in the world. There are so many other things also. So I took the time to just like research what's out there and what do I like. And now I'm like now I see golf as Gary Vee says, buying the jets. I'm 25, if I can go pro with 32 or 46, I mean, I don't care. I just want to make it to that part. And I was like looking for sponsors for so many years, and I didn't find like the amount of money I needed to go pro. So I was like also tired of it because I was like, I can do it myself. So I take it as a goal to work, save up money, and maybe build something, a side hustle, and then go through that route. Because even when I was in the US and being an assistant coach, I was like buying stuff from Goodwill and
right.
flipping it on the internet all the time,
Man.
and I would make more money. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Going back to what you said about like your passion and wanting to be better, do you feel like that was fueled on top of knowing where you came from, like knowing what your parents went through? Like, was that some motivation as well, or were you just consumed with, I just want to be good at golf?
I think it was because like when I was younger, I was like chubby, not very athletic, and my brother was he was very dedicated and practicing every day in soccer. So me growing up watching him was 100% a big influence, but also where we came from, But when I was younger, I didn't understand it. But when I was growing up, I also put in a lot of research and understood, okay, what it takes to actually take that step, leaving your home country, selling everything, and then going through all these things, visa, and you're waiting for years whether you can stay in a country or not. Like there's so many, if you like think through it in detail, it's so big and it's so stressful. And just thinking about how my parents did that and like still maintain to give us love and everything we needed, I think that's also the DNA, Gary always talks about, or people talk about it. So yeah, that's the two parts, I guess.
That's amazing. Would you, looking back on your life, would you go through that same journey again? Like, we all have decisions to make at every point of our life, right? And when I look back on my life, I'm like, okay, coming out of high school and making my choice to go to California instead of stay to Texas, like, would I redo it again? Sometimes I have that feeling of I would have changed it, but then I always come back to, no, I wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have met my best friend who's from California. I wouldn't have gone through the journey I went through to be humbled that I wasn't as good of a basketball player as I thought I was,
Yeah.
And yada, yada. Like, I really respect my journey. And when I look back on it, I'm like, I would do it over again. And I'm curious, what about you when you reflect back on your life? Like,
100% again, same thing. I mean, just the fact from having nothing is literally the best thing that can happen to you. And I know it just sounds it doesn't make sense, but it does, because you've been like, when you don't have anything, you are so willing to take risks and do the extra steps, because if you fail, you're like back to zero, but you do it anyways, right?
yeah,
So I think that's so underestimated. It's just such a big thing, because I still see it like live like being in the corporate world now, like I just see it because for me, like I could open up a company and then if it fails, I'm like, okay, so what? Like I still live minimalistic, and I'm gonna maintain, like I'm gonna have a roof over my head and be able to eat, and that's all I need. I always also told my friends, if I could play golf, pro golf, and I would make maybe 1,200, 1,500 a month, I would be so happy, man. Like, what else you need, And I think also being around the golf, like in the golf world, I just realized over the years that people think money brings happiness, and it doesn't. Like, I met so many so rich people who still who basically let themselves being emotionally attached to something that is not even a problem, but that basically ruins their life. And just seeing that, and me, imagine being in college with $100 a month, basically barely surviving, and then seeing those people complaining about these things, I'm like, where's the perspective? At that point, I was also like, I didn't have that perspective, but I was like, that's so dumb. How can you be like thinking this way while I'm like here barely surviving? But at that time, I was like, man, I'm still having it 3 million times better than anybody else. It's like perspective. And yeah, like back to your questions, I wouldn't change anything.
No, that's big time. What I've been thinking the entire time, like it's all perspective at the end of the day, And I think that's the cool thing about your story. And you've been speaking, I've been getting goosebumps. I'm like, yeah, that's real. That's real. Like you're nailing it. So, I had a question for you, but I want to address people in the audience. Hey, if you have any questions if you play golf and you have any golf questions, or if you just want, if you're just tuning in now and you want to, have any questions for Ali or myself, please drop them in the comment section. One of the things that I'm passionate about, which is why I have Ali on my show, is that I love connecting with people. And so if you're watching this show, first of all, I appreciate the time you're spending with us here, but leave some comments in there. Give Ali some feedback. He's been sharing some amazing stories about like his life and his perspective and him, his ambitions to become a golf professional. And I think, I don't know. I want you guys to show him love at minimum and ask some questions at most if you have any throughout this conversation. All right, Ali, back to us. So the question I had for you is just thinking about my journey because I was obsessed with basketball, right? Literally living in the gym morning, night. I didn't care about a job. I didn't care about school. I just wanted to become the best basketball player I could be. Then going back into how you called it reality, right? Stepping into the real world and realizing, hey, you know what? Basketball is going to end one day. What am I going to do with my life? I went into business with my mom. And that's where I found a new passion through a mentor of mine. I was trying to figure out ways to market, our hair salon. Some research online. I stumbled across a guy by the name of Craig Ward. Shout out to Craig. I always give Craig shout outs because he's the guy that even led me to like find Gary Vee, because I know you're a Gary Vee guy. He's like so many. He gave me a new perspective on life and how to look at it in business. And I found a passion for marketing and branding. As much like the energy I have in my body is as much as I did with basketball. So I'm curious about you when it comes to design. What is it matched, or do you still? Because obviously you're still playing golf and you still have ambitions to be a professional. So that hunger still might be stronger. But I'm curious where design falls in play.
Well, obviously behind golf, but just for the situation I'm in right now, I can like survive balancing both. Like I had a hard time after college. It's just you live in a not wrong, but in a false perception.
Yeah.
Especially being a student athlete, you live like you literally have everything you need to be able to be a good athlete. So I just think I forget about that, and then when I was done with college, I just wanted to find other things. So I started like trying a lot of things, but design is always behind golf, but I can put it on the same level if I need to. And like you say, I'm also very I cannot if I see something like some post on social media from a company and it's not designed well, there is no feel for room and everything, I also get annoyed. I get you there. And For example, if I'm building a website right now and I'm so into it, I can sit there for 14 hours. It's just like I'm happy that I have that. It's not like I just have 2 hours and I feel guilty because I need to practice. Like I'm able to.
It's healthy too. It's healthy, and this is an obvious question. This is an obvious question, but I'm gonna ask anyways because I love your perspective, man. So this is how we're gonna vibe on the cup of Joe. All right. So you were mentioning that a lot of people who have acquired a lot of wealth or a lot of money, but weren't happy. And I'm guessing that's from the golf world.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they've attached themselves to the dollar, right? But I'm curious, like I was thinking about it as you were saying that, because that's true. And I don't believe, I don't believe we should attach ourselves to anything of that caliber. But what's the difference? How would you articulate the difference between having a passion for like a sport or like a skill set, like UX design, like loving it that much, or like me, marketing and branding and basketball, to like being in love with something like money?
It's just if you're passionate about a skill set, I mean, maybe making money can be also a skill set. I mean, it is a skill set, but I'm just saying, like being in love with golf, for example, like, there's always room for you to get better. And it just automatically makes you like become better. And you don't just do the sport, you just try to read about it and then find skill sets that you need to be good at it, which is like mental toughness in golf, for example, being positive. I mean, it also relates to life. And if you like see it as a big picture, you try to like go through every skill set and maybe learn here and there something, and then connect the dots over the time. And so I think if you just see sports, most of the people see it very binary. They're just like, oh, it's golf. You just hit a golf ball. But they don't realize that I need to eat well, I need to work out, I need to stretch, I need to like roll out, like, all these things. And there's so many things going into it. I need to do branding. I need to reach out to people. Like it's kind of having your own company, but you just play sports, And I think because of the fact that I started late with golf when I was 14, I always had to like be able to build a brand. So when I think back, I was like 15 and I started like having a logo and building a website, emailing every small company to like maybe like get donations for me to play tournaments, and I did that. I still have those emails, and thinking back now, I'm like, how did I do it at that time, But that's also another thing that I'm very passionate about, which I learned throughout the time, is people are afraid to ask. And I think that's so many people. And if I look back to my career, if I wouldn't ask one time, I would never even get to the US, I kept asking. I emailed coaches. Like I was asking for money because I needed to play. And in return, I worked there, or I tried to like give them a shout out on social media. Like I always asked, even when I was done with college and I needed to find a job, I asked my network, and a lot of people think that is like using people, but I just know like in the golf world, for example, even the wealthy people, the older ones, they're just looking out to help others. Because if you're in a point where you don't need anything financially, you have success in your business, and you ask them for whatever it is, they're gonna help you. And I think I want to encourage people to do that because it's the only thing that really brings you to opportunities. Like asking, it's like you're having a following on Instagram, you're waiting for people to reach out to you. But if you reach out to other people, like I did to you, for example,
that's amazing.
Like things happen, and it's just like you need to do that every day in everything. Because people like me, for example, I'm waiting now to be able to build a website for people, so I can just do something good and learn something out of it.
That's awesome, man.
And so I reach out to people and offer them to do something for free, which is gonna take up maybe 3 days of my time. But and I think that's super important to understand that you need to ask, because you need to do an action to get reaction. And
wow,
it's so big. Like this is something I think about it so many times, and I often catch myself not doing it. So
We have some people dropping comments in here. They're loving you. They're loving you, Ali. Jessica, first of all, let me say what's up to Yvette. Let me say what's up to Kylie. Those are my people. Let me say what's up to Jessica. Jessica Joseph says, I admire the talent. Let me put it on here. I admire the talent. I can never hit the ball. Oh, she's talking about ball. I love your story and the way you're able to maintain the confidence despite all the obstacles. For sure, bro.
Thank you so much. And golf is a hard sport.
It's a super hard sport.
Like you need to be so patient, and it's just you can try to hit a golf ball for 8 hours in a row, and you might just maybe hit 3 good ones. But it's just literally the journey.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Jessica asks, what is your favorite design program?
Well, when it comes to websites, I use Webflow. It's a new kind of program where you can like build everything you want. It's not like WordPress where you have limitations. You can build everything you want, and it writes code in background. So
what's the name of it? What is it they use?
Webflow.
Webflow, gotcha.
WEB Flow, yeah. And that's amazing. Like I've been spending so much time in it. And when it comes to design, maybe obviously Photoshop and Adobe XD, which is the program to build wireframes and the apps.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Look, you said so many things that I want to touch on real quick. Number one,
sorry, man, I keep talking so much.
No, I love it though. I'm trying to do my best to record what you're saying. That's really like been resonating with me. You said that if you wouldn't have, this is a tweetable moment, right? For you, by the way. You said if you wouldn't have asked, you wouldn't have found yourself in America. I think
never. It just goes so. I don't know. Like I'm on a tournament, and I'm like, hey, like I want to play this tournament. Can you help me out? And people have connections, and then you end up getting invited. Like I was in San Antonio, broke, don't even have money, like on a visa, and like didn't have any money, and I asked someone if they could like lend me money. I mean, it's just normal things. Like I was looking for work, and I had literally a week to find a job. Otherwise, I wouldn't get the work visa. And I asked like people I knew from the golf in the golf business basically, and throughout connections, I found a job. And I mean that's everything. And it's not like because I have the network. Even if I would just reach out to all people on Instagram, I'm pretty confident that I would find something, you know?
Absolutely, dude. We're all human beings, man.
It's just, and I think like I'm always happy when someone new reaches out to me, and I'm pretty sure 99% of the people out there feeling the same, you know? And I think it's like empathy. Like if you reach out to someone and they're like, hey, I like your work and let's talk, the probability that someone's going to talk to you is so high, you know? And I think people are scared of that first step. I've jumped to a conclusion about my life, and my ultimate life hack to everybody who's watching out there, and I mean it, and this is exactly what I'm doing here with these conversations, is relationships, building relationships. Like you understand how to interact, treat people well, be good with people, it's going to come back to you. And I'm looking back at everything from since I was young. And I'm just like, man, really at the end of the day, I was just really good at like building relationships and being cool with people. And even though something, you know, even though a relationship just stayed maintained, like us just being friends, that's fine too. Like, what do you have to lose with gaining another friend, right? Yeah. No, I'm
with the ask like, oh, I hope I get something out of this friendship. And it's like, no, go in to be a good person with that individual. And if nothing comes out of it, at least you end up with a new friend, you know? And I think that's what you're trying to say.
And I mean, it's the same when you go to college with some people, and then I never realized it just to a few weeks ago when all my friends I have in college, like sooner or later, people are gonna either reach out to me or I'm gonna reach out to them, because either it's not only just using someone for something, it's just like, you know, like you have this friendship for such a long time and you say hi and they're like, yeah, I'm looking for this, and you can help them. And it's just, I don't know, I'm always inspired by that, because every time I see D-Rock, the cameraman from Gary, like posting this, he just posts a picture and he's like, you can network in the comments. Every time he did that, like that's how I got it on the podcast with some friends. And And because of that, I basically have two new friends, and they live also in the States, and I sometimes here and there we motivate each other, and it's just super funny. And I can imagine, like, in design, like, I'm pretty new in that, but I could imagine being able to, like, help someone out, or they help me out, just from a skill set point, and just I'm so fascinated by it that I want to, like, keep doing it. And that's also how you build a brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's where, doing things for free comes into play. Like, you don't have expectations because you already know that you're just in there to create a relationship and to learn, right? You're learning to build websites, but at the same time, you're saying, hey, I can offer this service for you for free because I know that at the end of the day, we're either just going to become good friends or you're going to use me for business.
Yeah.
Either way, I win. And going back to what you said in the first part of the story, you said that, when you come from zero, you're not afraid of, you're not really afraid of anything. And my encouragement to, like, myself and people who are watching is it's all about having the right intention moving forward, right? If your intent, and that goes back to the question I asked you about money and having a passion for skill set, like, it's all about what is your intention, and once you figure that out, Gary, since you're mentioning him a lot of times, he always has a quote that says, how you make your money is better than how much money you make. And I think that all is relative to this conversation right here, because it's all about intention, right? And so I really do believe in, you reached out to me and I was flattered because I was like, this is cool. I've been, all my other guests, I've been reaching out to them. I've been really, like, DMing, and that's how I really respect your hustle, because especially from, hearing your story of how you even came to America, because it's really all about going out there and just networking and asking people questions and not being afraid for no. And I always try to figure out in my mind, like, what is it that people are afraid of? Like, why are people afraid to ask? Like, what is that? And I think we're not questioning ourselves on why we're really asking for those things, or we're not really clear on what's the value I have to offer somebody else. That's probably the big.
But I think a lot of times also it doesn't come down to that, because people think, oh, who am I to ask someone for something, and what am I able to give them? And sometimes you're in a position where you cannot give anything, but over the time, maybe in 10 years, you're gonna remember him because of him, you became who you are, and then you give back. And I think it's so hard, because I think all it comes down to getting out of your comfort zone. Because if you like for example, I'm so grateful for starting playing golf and being able to travel to so many countries when I was younger, because that gave me perspective, and not only for a short amount of time, just for my life. I always have a broad perspective, and I think everyone needs to, like, get out of the comfort zone and try something new, because you obviously have fear at the beginning, but always you're gonna figure out, okay, why was I even scared to do so? It's just so crazy. And I also see, like meeting, because I'm new to, like, Munich, to the city. I'm also, like, trying to find new friends and find a lot of international people. And when I see people who are, like, from the States or from wherever studying in Germany, they're in the same spot where I was when I was in the States, And talking to them, you see, like, them going through the same development mentally. And it's always nice to see. And you always click much faster than people who basically who always were scared to go over their fears.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. I was, are you on TikTok at all? You spend time on?
Yeah, I've been consuming a lot. I'm trying to find
your voice. You're trying to figure out, like, your.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to build content around my person, because the story I just told you, maybe 99% of the people who even follow me don't know it, and I'm trying to, like, find a way to talk about it, and also maybe, maybe through that storytelling, finding people who could help me to achieve my goals, and also I can help them. Like, I'm able to give all my golf tips for free, and that's what I'm also trying to do, to build content around golf and design. And it's hard, but I'm still, like, in TikTok, I'm still, like, watching, but I'm starting.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Cool. We'll touch on that in a little bit. I know you have to go. When's your meeting? When's your next meeting?
I have 20 more minutes, if that's fine.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for sure. Because I have so many questions for you and so much to talk about. But I was going to tell you the reason I brought up TikTok was because this morning I consume a lot as well. I'm posting content. I'm trying to post at least 2-3 times, even 4 times a day if I can. Because of this show and because of like other projects that I have in play, I've been really I haven't been posting as much as I want to, but I'm still consuming a lot of TikTok content because I know that's a platform that it just needs the attention, right? And so. It's funny that you mentioned the whole relationship thing, that even if you don't have something to give somebody, because that's how I am. I really don't like to ask people for things unless I know I can match my right? I just feel weird about it. But you help me out because the truth is, you're right. If someone helps me today and I don't have anything to give them, I'm the type of person who 5 years, 10 years down the road, I'm going to remember that person and I'm going to want to give what like overgive to them for helping me get to that point, right? That's just how I am, my personality. So Drake, this guy was talking about Drake. I don't know if you listen, what kind of music you listen to. I love Drake. I appreciate Drake. Drake has a similar story. He's relatable, man. But they were saying that one of his biggest reasons why he's been relevant in the hip hop genre for 10 years is because of how much he gives back to people who don't have big audiences yet. He goes back to the young aspiring artists and he gives back to them so that when they blow up like Migos, they remember him and they come feature him on and he stays relevant. And it goes back to this entire conversation of, be willing to ask, knowing that your intention is always to remember that person who supported you or to do, to bring value in some way. So I appreciate that conversation big time.
No, 100%. I mean, it shouldn't sound like ask and just get. It's more about like not being afraid to basically talk to new people, talk to people you don't know. And then during that process, something always like starts, like maybe you don't know them and then they actually secretly love golf, and that's when I get in and I can help them. And, and also throughout my college career, I helped so many people. Always when I see kids on the range, like I stay there for 1-2 hours longer and then, like show them how to play golf. And then later on, their parents, oh my God, like Thomas played so good in the tournament. Thanks for your help. And I didn't do anything. It didn't even, except time, I didn't even give anything away, So, and then hearing those stories makes you so happy. Like you would even pay for it to get that feeling, when they tell you. And I think that's so valuable.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, let me ask you this question. If you were, and I'm asking all my guests who are on this show, if you were on Ellen, Ellen, the gender? Yeah. If you're on the Ellen show and she was to ask you, what's your message that you're trying to share to the world, what would that be?
I mean, for me, for example, the only fear I have is to be average, which makes me always to be able to like work harder and then kind of never be too comfortable that it takes me takes me to the bottom. But I mean, what a message, like always be open to get out of your comfort zone. I mean, that's literally the only way to become better in whatever you're doing. Always. Because if you go always in the unknown, it always feels scary at the beginning. But after a few months, after a time, you look back and then you realize that because of that one action, you ended up where you are. Always. And I mean, like, imagine my parents leaving everything in Iran, selling everything, and then just my mom, my dad, and me and my brother being babies, going through 8 countries, and then you don't have anything, let's say, safe anywhere, and they end up like in Germany and then build something for themselves. And I think just that story shows you that in all kind of extremes, that's the answer.
Beautiful, man. That is super awesome. And Jessica says, yeah, share your story and show the basics of golf on TikTok. So I really do believe, man, like, your story is amazing. You follow Gary Vee, so he says this all the time. But your brand is you, and it's cool.
Yeah.
known that you've been creating logos for yourself since a young age, and I think people do need to hear your story. And I would just encourage you to not get attached to the numbers so much. Like, just you've shared so many stories in this already that I feel like you have so much content that you could put out there, and just put it out, man, and not get so much attached to the followers, the likes, or whatever. Just know that people are paying attention, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I gotta admit, I'm in the process of getting over the fear of being in front of the camera.
Yeah. Man, you look great. You're natural. Trust me. You look great.
I know. It's hard because I never seen myself like talking to me, and I tried to have like videos with my phone, but I didn't. And then I was like, okay, I actually rented out a camera, and I was like, okay, if I don't take videos now, you know how you have these excuses. Yeah, I have a bad camera, like this and that. I don't have a MacBook, like stuff like that. And I was like, now it's the time. And actually, I'm starting getting step by step a little more comfortable, like putting out content here and there. On TikTok is the best place because I feel like on TikTok nobody knows you, and you don't know what's good, so you just put out random stuff, and then something like gets good feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
Jessica, I appreciate that tip, and I've been thinking about that too, but I never really started. But I want to like do a quarantine golf tip thing, and I actually have like a golf net outside in the garden.
No, that would kill. Like in home, like how to learn golf in your house, like that would be awesome, man. That'd be dope.
But I think the only insecurity I have is that my golf friends or the golf coaches who follow me would like say, yeah, that's not the right theory. But I mean,
man,
I know, but deep inside, I don't really.
Yeah.
At one point, I also kind of care, but I'm slowly getting to that point where I don't care at all, which is amazing.
Yes.
And then I can like do what I really want. Like I'm at 98%, I would say.
You know what? And I that makes so much sense. And I'll be honest with you, like it's so funny. So when I decided to pick up a camera and start vlogging, in my mind, I was so insecure because I was like, number one, I've never done anything like this before. I don't know what the camera is. I don't even know what my story is really. I don't know what kind of content I want to put out in the world. I know so many people on Facebook, who like know who I am. And now, at different phases of my life, like I'm not about to share who I am right now. Like you're too vulnerable at that point. Yeah, and so I hesitated for a while, and I just got to a point where I was like, let me just jump in and just say fuck it. Like I'm going in. And I dove in, and honestly, growing up, there was a point where I was like real outgoing. Naturally, I'm in what do you call it? I'm an extrovert and an introvert. Especially when I was growing up. Then when I broke my 2 front teeth, I went through this phase of my life where I was made fun of, and I became like super insecure, and I became shy. Like I didn't want to smile at all. I would hold my mouth or whatever.
Oh my god!
And I went through that phase, and then it just hit me one day, like, you know what? Like, I'm naturally in love with people.
Yeah.
I want to have these conversations. Like I gotta get over being shy. And so I started putting myself on camera, and I started with YouTube. But what I'm trying to share here is that if I hadn't have made that decision to start vlogging on YouTube, I don't think you and I would be having this conversation right now on Facebook Live, like on live.
Right.
And I think there's so many different skill sets from just going back to what you said, your statement you would make on Ellen is like, just commit to it. Like,
always, man. Yeah. Just like, imagine me when I think back, if I didn't start this freaking golf computer game, like, it's so funny. It's a golf game. It's an online game where you play against others golf on some comic figures. Like, who would have thought? And then it made me to travel to 30 countries. Just that. Period. Like it's insane. Like it's crazy. And I experienced so many things, and I met so many people just because I downloaded a golf game at some point. Like that's how deep you have to think through it. And that's actually the truth, I never would have started playing golf because I was like, man, only rich people play, and we're refugees. Like what the heck?
Right.
So it's so interesting.
Right. Cool, man. Well, I'm gonna give you a chance to ask the question of the day and to also promote like where people can find you, what projects you have working on. Like this is your time to shine, man.
Well, you can find me first of all on Instagram at Ali Kazanbike. Also on TikTok, Facebook also Ali Kazanbike. yeah, you can also Google me. Maybe you find something. What I'm up to, yeah, like I said, I wanna keep. Basically, I want to start telling my story, like literally the story I told you about my past, the refugee thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the second time I'm telling it to the world, and it's
awesome,
also practicing. It's
yeah, for sure. I love it.
And I needed a few years to like basically research why my parents did that, why this happened. Like I researched literally everything, and it goes to politics and a lot of things, history. So now I'm like confident enough and comfortable enough to like let it go. And I just want to like create content around it, talk to people who want to be athletes, just people who want to maybe play in college golf or just travel. And I have so many stories to tell that I didn't even start to tell. And like I want to like inspire people through basically my stories. And the question of the day, let me think about that for a second.
Think about it. I just want to go ahead and thank the audience.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I keep seeing the same faces pop up. Yvette, aka Destined to Shine. Jessica, I see you out there doing your thing and supporting me. Kylie hopped in here. My mom, she's one of my biggest fans out here. She calls me and gives me feedback. My uncle gave me feedback yesterday on the show. So obviously family is important. I want to thank you, Ali, for being, willing to come on the show, especially now that you've just, confessed to me that you're not comfortable in front of the camera, man. I think it's awesome that the fact that this is your second time sharing your story on my show means a lot to me, man. And the fact that you're willing to come on and be real and have this conversation, and knowing that we've never really interacted before prior to this.
Literally, yeah.
DM, right?
And messages or something.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you, man. And your story is super inspiring, and I'm a big fan. I'm going to be following your journey because I've never seen you play. I've seen a couple of your videos on Instagram that you hitting the ball.
Yeah,
I get a passion for it, but dude, just hearing your story, man, it's inevitable that you're gonna get there. You just have to keep keep telling yourself that, and I'm gonna follow that. And I'm glad to replay this. When you built your platform and you're sharing your story, and I'm like, yo, I interviewed that dude during the journey. So that's awesome, man.
No, thank you so much. Also building this platform, and I know it's the best time to do so because of the quarantine, but I think it's so interesting because you get random people with random stories from all over the world, drinking coffee, and and I think that's better than any motivational video. Like just the conversation we just had, the connections. It's just I'm gonna remember that like for a long time,
Cool, man.
And if you experience it, you can you have it better in your mind than just watching some video.
Big time. Yeah, for sure. And that's the beauty about relationships. So go ahead, ask your question of the day.
I would just go very simple. I was like, if fear wouldn't exist, what would be the thing you would do, or you would go for it? Finally, for God's sake, do it.
If fear didn't, you know what? Hold up, I'm gonna make some super content right now. Watch this, because I was thinking about how can I include Instagram on this, because I'm always sharing the shows after I post it. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open up stories.
Let me do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Why not?
What's up, Instagram? I'm currently live on the Cup of Joe with Ali, and he's asking the question of the day. And Ali, I want you to ask it again for people on Instagram so they can answer it. Answer when he asks the question. DM me. I just want to interact with people and share your answer with me, and I'll tag you if you take a screenshot of our show and add it to your story. Ali, what's the question?
So the question is, if fear wouldn't exist, what would be the one thing you would do and you would go for?
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, bro. All right, cool. I'll post that later. Sweet.
Yeah, man. It's a simple question, but it can get very, let's say, complex if you think about it.
No, for sure. I think everybody has to think about it, even myself. So, hey, man, I know you're a busy guy doing your thing, but let's stay in touch for sure.
For sure.
And I just look forward to seeing more content from you and following your journey.
Me too, man. Thanks for having me, and maybe talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Facebook, YouTube. I didn't even call out YouTube. Yo, I'm trying to share on different platforms, and
Yeah,
I'm sharing with Twitter. Today I'm sharing with YouTube. So Facebook, YouTube, I appreciate the love. Go follow my man.
Thanks so much.
Go follow my man. Here's his banner. Let's take off my other banner. I'm still trying to figure all this out.
That's so cool, the app.
Say it again.
The app is so cool. Where you
It
can
is cool.
Nice.
It is cool, right? Yeah, it's just real efficient. But go follow my man on all his handles, and we'll stay curious and stay excited about tomorrow's conversation, because I'm going to be, and this is something for you to know, Ali. I'm going to be interviewing. He was a cartoonist for Gary Vee, yeah, and he's now working for Cheetos. So I'm really curious to like jump into that combo and meet him, because he's
storytelling. Yeah,
absolutely. It's around storytelling. So looking forward to that conversation. But that's going to start 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. I appreciate all the love, and I'm hopping off of live. Atang out.